Ziggy's journey across the United States was a critical success, but unchecked spending made the tour a financial disaster. Even so, when Bowie returned to England, he was treated like a conquering hero.
I wanted to see him. They said he was coming round the back. I've been waiting for ages to see him.
What David's fans didn't know was that their idol had less money in his pockets than they did. But that didn't keep David from indulging in recreational drug use. And David's narcotic of choice was cocaine.
Right at the beginning, there wasn't much of that going on. After America, there started to be a lot more.
As David's cocaine habit escalated, the resulting weight loss combined with mental stress gave rise to the title of his next album, A Lad Insane.
A Lad Insane was, well, I think it was a reflection of what he was going through. It was starting to work on his head, and, some lad, London lad, going off his rocker very slowly, but having an interesting time doing it.
To promote A Lad Insane, Bowie headed off on a 100-day world tour. The first performances were at Radio City Music Hall. During one show, David collapsed on stage.
It was the ultimate in drama because the encore number was Rock and Roll Suicide, and after the song ended, he fell on the floor. He had definitely went unconscious for a while, and then, of course, the doctors and nurses came and he was fine, but it was scary.
In spite of the incident, David continued his grueling schedule. After completing the US leg of the tour, the band headed to Japan, then on to Russia, and back to England. When Bowie returned home, he learned that A Lad Insane was #1 on the charts. The news should have made him happy, but it didn't. In the midst of all the Ziggy Stardust hype, David Bowie felt he had lost his way.
Still don't know what I was waiting for. Time was running wild. A million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet.
All the feedback was coming to Ziggy Stardust. I mean, not to David Jones from Brixton. So he had created this alter ego, and the alter ego took over his entire life.
David continued to play to sold-out houses throughout Great Britain, including London's Hammersmith Odeon on July the 3rd, 1973. But to the audience's surprise, at the end of the show, the 26-year-old rock star made a startling announcement.
Not only is it the last show of the tour, but it's the last show that we'll ever do. Thank you.
Less than a year and a half after creating Ziggy Stardust, the shock rocker was giving up the character that had brought him fame, and fans were left wondering if David Bowie was just another shooting star who'd burned out before his time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, we love you.
Ziggy Stardust did indeed rise and fall, just as predicted in the title of 26-year-old David Bowie's hit album.
It had become a burden to him, and the only way to deal with it was to shake it off completely.
Ziggy Stardust was gone, but certainly not forgotten. The character continued to influence new musicians and was even an inspiration for a West End glam rock musical. The Rocky Horror Show opened in June of 1973 and was later made into a cult classic feature film.
So, come up to the lab and see what's on the slab.
In July 1973, Bowie had 5 albums in the top 40, 3 of them in the top 15, which was unprecedented for a solo artist. The singer's self-imposed retirement didn't last long. That fall, while Gladys Knight and the Pips, Cher, and the Rolling Stones were topping the Billboard charts, David released Pin-Ups, a tribute to some of his favorite British pop stars from the 1960s.